Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today let's talk specifically about American politics and the single most succinct, truthful, powerful explanation of the dynamic between Republicans and Democrats today that I have ever heard in my entire lifetime for this particular moment, for this political season. And it was a statement by James Forman Jr., who was a guest on the Political Gabfest. Political Gabfest is really the very best political commentary that you can listen to. It's a weekly show. It's been going on for like 15 years. It's a podcast. It's absolutely free. It's amazing. I suggest it to everybody. And I love political commentary, and this is the most powerful thing I've heard in political commentary in like 3 months. It's just an incredible statement, and we got to talk about it. All right. Let's talk about it. All right, so Slate Political Gabfest, Emily Bazelon, David Plotz, and John Dickerson, okay? They bring on this guest. He's a political commentator just like them. I think he's like a writer, right? But he comes onto their podcasts, and they're all talking about, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. And they're lamenting just like we're all lamenting. They're like, oh boy, Joe Biden's our person. We hope he wins because he'll beat Donald Trump, but absolutely nobody's excited for what's going to happen after he wins. Nobody's excited about his presidency. Nobody's excited about Joe Biden. And this is a dyed-in-the-wool, self-describing liberal podcast, right? And even they're like being drugged to the table for Biden. Absolutely no one is excited about Biden. It's just like he is just not a good candidate, right? So they're talking about it, and James Forman Jr. just mic drops the entire podcast by saying the following. He's like, where we've arrived is that the Republicans are really outmaneuvering us. This is all paraphrasing, and I'll tell you his exact words in a minute. He's just kind of setting the stage for this comment. And he said, they're outmaneuvering us, and they're just, right now they're in power, and we're really playing catch up. So the reality is, what's really happening between the Democrats and the Republicans is the following. The Republicans are saying to the Democrats, you have your podcasts, we'll have the power. Mic drop. It perfectly describes so much. It describes why we're here now, right? And it describes the dynamic between the Blues and the Reds. Blues, Democrat, Reds, Republicans, okay? So what's really happening is this is it. In one sentence, this perfectly describes the dynamic between the Blues and the Reds today, American Blues, American Reds today, and answers 100 questions. And I will tell you why. Let's get into it. All right. He's right, right? Like, podcasts are, they're darn near a dead medium, okay? But the reason they don't go away, and the reason why companies pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for podcasts, is only super rich, super intelligent, super liberal. Actually, you know what? That's not true. There's some conservative. Super rich, super intelligent people listen to podcasts. Period. That's all that listens to it, right? So when you do an advertisement on a podcast, nobody there is making less than 6 figures. It's 6 figures and up, right? Maybe there's a couple who aren't, but they will soon, right? They'll be making 6 figures soon, right? So it's 6 figures now or 6 figures soon, right? So that's why podcasts are so valuable. And guess what? The liberals, the Reds, the liberals, the Blues, the Democrats, they own the podcast medium. Own it. Top to bottom, right? They absolutely crush, Republicans and Reds and conservatives. I will tell you right now, the vast majority of conservatives, Reds, Republicans, probably couldn't tell you what a podcast is if you asked them, right? But the Blues, the Democrats, the liberals of America, they own the podcast medium, right? And the reality is, this is where we've landed. The Democrats, the Blues, the liberals of America have said, we want to be heard. Every single annoyance, every cut, every slight, every single problem we have, we want the media to pay attention to it and do articles about it and do podcasts about it and do documentaries about it and do YouTube shows about it. And all of our pains, all of our pain will be broadcast. Okay? And the Republicans, the Reds, the conservatives are like, we ain't gonna tell you nothing. We're not gonna tell you our annoyances. We're not gonna tell you what we really don't like. The reality is, by and large, the macro level, the Reds, the Republicans, the conservatives, they are quiet. And they just quietly, effectively, massively hoard power, right? And that is the reality of today, right? The Democrats will have their podcasts and the Republicans will have their power, right? And the way you could really tell this is true is the Joe Biden surrender of the presidency. Putting up 24 real candidates, including people who would given representation for Asian Americans, people who would have given representation for African Americans, people who would have given representation for Latino Americans, people who would have given representation for female Americans, people who would have given representation for cool Americans, Andrew Yang, people who would have given representation for people who want government by intellect, again, Andrew Yang, just an array, a myriad of amazing, shockingly interesting, wonderful candidates. And to say the person we want is Joe Biden, this person who any legitimate voter can fully question whether he will be able to complete even a single term. And the odds are he will not be able to complete even a single term because he will be in his 80s. In his 80s. When you're in your 80s, people are like, oh, well, they lived a very full life. That's unfortunate, right? We are electing a person whose season of life includes the life event, life exit. It is a complete surrender. I am convinced the Democrats, I would say right before, like 2 weeks before Super Tuesday, decided to surrender to Donald Trump, and that the put forward of Joe Biden is a full acceptance of we will have our podcasts and the Republicans will have the power, right? Now, why would the Democrats do this? Well, the reality is, one, I think they may have realized they have no ability to defeat Donald Trump. That is quite possible. And the reason why is they have played him wrong at every single turn. They told the nation he was stupid. He is not stupid. Not even remotely. He is highly intelligent. He maneuvers like a snake, right? And they never, ever saw him coming. They didn't see him coming in 2016. They didn't see him coming in 2017. They didn't see him coming in 2018. They didn't see him coming in 2019. And they sure as heck didn't see him coming in 2020. He has outmaneuvered them at every turn. The Mueller report, impeachment. Like, he has crushed them time and time and time again. And I think they realized, hey, why are we trying to do the impossible? And for them, I think, especially with the blue power base as it is right now, it might have been impossible. I don't think they should have surrendered. I'm not saying this is what they should have done. I'm saying this is what they decided to do, right? There is a group of people, right, who there are people come in two types. They say, okay, I got a plan. There's a 99% chance this plan is going to fail. I'm going to do the plan and I will let it fail. There's another group of people that say, I have a plan. There's a 99% chance of this plan failing. I will not do the plan because I don't want to expend the resources. The entire Democrat, liberal, blue base is the second kind this year. They are saying we are giving up. We're not expending the resources. We're not expending the effort. Putting forward Joe Biden is a complete and utter surrender. Of the presidency to Donald Trump, right? And again, why would they do that? Well, the other thing is, I think the Democrats have become incredibly comfortable in the, we're not in power. All this mess is the fault of the Republicans, right? And they don't get, because when you win, you own the problem. And I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of things in America where liberals have won, and then they get to put their thing in place, and nothing gets better, and nothing gets better, right? And I think they're realizing, oh man, when we win, we own the problem. We own the problem, and we really don't have any real solutions with the candidates that we're willing to back, right? And we would have had, I mean, Andrew Yang would have been amazing. We would have had really, in that alternate Earth where Andrew Yang will be president in the new world, in that every world posit, string theory world, boy, are they going to have a wonderful life. I'm telling you, it's going to, yeah. Boy, some days I wish I was going to be on that, that string theory area, although I don't actually believe in that. It's just a fiction. but I actually envy the people who can believe in that type of a world, where there is a world where Andrew Yang will be president. That would have been nice. It really would have been nice. But this is it. This is the dynamic of the day. The Democrats will have their podcasts. The Republicans will have their power. James Forman Jr. did the very best description I have ever heard of the dynamic of today. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that's the true dynamic that we're at? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.